Hey guys, welcome back to Paris Blockchain Week. It is day 2 and we are here with Bertrand Perez, the CEO of Web3 Foundation. We're filming live here with our friends at CryptoSlate and I'm delighted to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay, so Bertrand, obviously, CEO of Web3 Foundation, you've got a very important role to play, especially in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So obviously I understand that there's different organizations in this in the world that you're in. Web3 Foundation, there's Parity Technologies, and there might be one or two other
there are
ecosystems.
lots of others, yeah.
I always feel like some retail, especially, maybe they get a little bit confused about what is the role of each one and how do you separate and divide and conquer your tasks. So maybe you could explain to us what that is.
Yeah, sure. So first you have the foundation. So the role of the foundation is research. So we have a strong team of researchers who are working in areas like cryptography, quantum computing, and all the hardcore science that is required to have a strong, robust, secure, and scalable blockchains. So that's an important thing. Then we have a grants program that is big. So we are providing financial ammunition to teams in the space who are willing to develop project, have ideas for cool applications and services, but they need a few $1,000 to be able to recruit a couple of engineers for a short period of time. So we try to help them so that we can bootstrap that innovation in the network.
Yeah.
And then the last part is technical education. So we are providing educational content ranging from basic blockchain knowledge up to very advanced cryptographic development using Rust and Polkadot, and so that any developer that comes to the space has a one-stop shop where to go to get all the content that he needs, all the information, all the knowledge to be efficient. So that's the foundation. Then you have other actors around in the ecosystem, and Parity, as you mentioned, is a company that is developing the blockchain itself. So they are developing the code for Polkadot and Kusama, and they are also conducting other activities like business development and other kind of activities to kind of help and show the value to the ecosystem. And then there are lots of other, I would say, layer one, so companies who have developed on top of Polkadot their own layer one, like Akala, Astar, Moonbeam, Kilt. There's plenty of them, and what they are doing is that, one, they're developing their parachain, their own blockchain, so developing their own services and growing their services and bringing customers into the platform. And on the other side, they can also contribute to Polkadot as a whole, because Polkadot is an open source project, and anyone can contribute and bring features and ideas on the table.
Thank you, that's a great answer. So there was a lot of hype about parachain auctions last year, and many of us participated, and it was a great way to get in on the projects and get into the communities. Are you happy with how the parachain auctions turned out? Was that what you guys were expecting when you were speaking to Gavin?
Yeah, I think they are. The concept of auctions is I would say a way to allocate a resource that is a scarce resource, so a slot connection on the network to be able to operate and execute a blockchain, and thanks to the auction process, we are able to have that fully automated. People are bidding for a given slot on the network. There's no human interaction at all, so you remove all the potential conflicts of interests. It's all handled by the network in an automated manner, and the auction mechanism that has been designed by the researchers of the foundation is really a completely autonomous system that provides a full transparency and traceability of what is done. So we are happy of the success, because there's no one can say that within the auction process, because those resources, as I said, are scarce. No one can say that anyone has had an influence into attributing those auctions. So that's one, and that was, I would say, the main goal of the process.
Okay.
From the pure technology, it's working very well. So
Yeah.
we no hiccups, and you know the ecosystem, so you know that everything went smoothly. So we're happy for that. And now what we are seeing is the next phase, basically the next round of auctions and new projects coming. And now it's really, I would say, regular business. So projects are coming on a weekly basis, bidding on the auctions, and it's just working. And like a piece of software that just works, you don't hear about it. There's no issue. So we are happy for that, because it's really one of the foundational foundational component of the system, and it's working very well. And compared to other projects where this system is different, we're really happy of the outcome that we're having.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than the kind of ICOs, IDOs, kind of all of that.
Full transparency, full security.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's full security for the people who bid into the auction. So
you
want to participate with your tokens.
Yeah.
You know that the project is not able to run you with your money, because your tokens will be secured by the blockchain, by the network, and this is unique, right? So it provides again transparency.
Definitely agree with you. It's a huge upgrade on what was out there previously. So from your, with your knowledge of the whole ecosystem, are you guys happy? So you're happy with that? You're moving on to are you going to keep, upgrading the kind of the parachain auctions and like the concept of it, or are you guys saying that's how it is, that's done, that's how it's always going to be, or you keep iterating on that like going forwards?
No. There's always work to be done, and we don't want to be static and be complacent on what we've been doing. So specifically on the auctions mechanism, there's a few optimizations there, but I would say most of the work is done. But from the project perspective itself, the teams and the development is ongoing, and there's a huge roadmap ahead, and lots of functionalities that are going to come in the next months, and the team is building. So we're building lots of new features, working on improving the performance and the scalability of the system, because for us, speed, scalability is key, together with security. We really believe that with the architectural model that Gavin has set up for Polkadot, and with the evolutions that are coming, we would be able to provide very high throughput on the network because of the architecture that has been selected. So yeah, we're building. There's tons of stuff that we are building on.
Is there any specific technical upgrades that you're really excited about that are coming soon? You said there's some things coming soon.
Governance V2. So it's clearly the major update that is coming in the next weeks now to Polkadot, and that's really something that is core to the vision of Gavin, and what we wanted to achieve is to provide on-chain a unique governance model where every single token owner is able to participate in anything through that governance process in a way that is completely managed by the network, completely decentralized, no single point of failure, no limit the powers of certain humans in the system, and really provide that fully decentralized governance model that does everything on the network, new features, new evolutions, changes, on-chain treasury proposals, because we have an on-chain treasury where you can propose projects so that you can get funding. So that's basically a way for the system to fund itself through that on-chain treasury, and all that governed by this new governance model that we call V2. That is really a revolution, and again, a unique feature in the space in terms of governance. No other chain has such an advanced governance model. So we are really excited of this coming to Polkadot very soon now, and that will provide a lot of value for every stakeholder basically in the chain.
Definitely, and I know that's always been at the forefront of Gavin's vision, the decentralized structure that you've put in place.
Absolutely.
Let's just touch on Gavin very quickly. I know that he changed position in Parity. I think he was CEO, and now he's more creative. I can't remember the exact title movements, but how has that affected day-to-day life in Parity?
Well, I mean, you know that Parity is a different company from us. So, but what I can tell you is that Gavin is an engineer at core, and is a very strong engineer. So he moved into a chief architect role, so he took the reins of Parity as a CEO for some time in order to help, because at that time there was the need for a CEO. But clearly Gavin is focusing on the architecture and all the development, and governance V2 is a good example. Gavin has been really deeply involved and participating into that. So he's focusing on the as a chief architect, focusing really on the new feature. So he's even much more engaged in the development of the project. And Bjorn has been taking the reins of as a CEO of Parity, and Bjorn is a Parity OG, Polkadot OG, I would say, and he knows very well the space, knows very well the ecosystem, and is clearly a very good CEO for Parity. So I think after that move, Parity is stronger because Gav now is 100% or 200% focusing on the tech, and Bjorn taking the lead and making sure that Parity as a structure runs and is optimal in how it works.
Ultimately, Gavin's talents will be wasted doing managerial tasks when he should be. You want to put your best strikers up front. In where the best positions where they perform well.
Absolutely.
So football reference. I don't know if
absolutely,
you're a fan.
definitively.
Okay, well, cool. So look, you spoke about some projects coming up. Like you said, that every week they're coming over to Polkadot. Are there specific areas or niches that Polkadot's targeting? Like, obviously there's metaverse, there's gaming, there's DeFi. Like, how does Polkadot position itself? Like, I mean, do you want to be everything, or are you targeting niche areas? Do you have a strategy for that?
So we don't want to target as Polkadot. So I'm speaking as the foundation.
Yeah.
We want to provide the best layer one. Period. So we want to make sure that Polkadot, the platform, is strong, performant, and secure, and that it provides the flexibility for anyone to be able to come and develop their own applications. So we want to be this operating system that is strong, reliable, that anyone goes to because they know the performance exactly, and that they can trust it, and using their innovation, they will build the services. And honestly, I don't know what is going to be the next killer app, right? What I want to be sure is that we provide whatever is that killer app, we provide the strongest layer for that application to be developed. In the space, we've seen lots of shiny objects, right? Yeah. DeFi, metaverse, now AI, and so on and so on. So I don't know what would be the next one. What I'm sure is that it's not on us to influence that, right? But it's on us to make sure that the underlying technology, so Polkadot, is the most open, the most efficient, and the most secure in the market.
Okay. And so a few months ago, it was confirmed that the DOT token is not a security, which is obviously massive news. It's software, right? And obviously we've seen a lot of projects. Literally today, I think TRX was called a security by the SEC. And so that should give investors a lot of confidence, not just investors, but the whole community that DOT is, doing their dotted line, so to speak, with the regulators, and is becoming a safe place to build.
No, so that's the result of 3 years of work and lots of meetings with the team at the SEC to work with them and explain. Well, it's really a proactive approach. So we wanted to explain to them what we are doing, what is the vision, what was Gav's vision when building Polkadot, this decentralized internet, give back power to people in terms of governance, and that the token is not a financial token, it's really the way that people can interact with the network, can participate into governance, the way that the network can secure itself through the use of the staking algorithm and the token. And that token has a real utility. And we've been working with them basically as we were moving on the path of developing and delivering on the white paper that Gav wrote, basically saying, hey guys, here is the white paper, here is the vision, and we are going to show you that we are going to do exactly what's there. And we've been showing constantly that we were executing and delivering, and every time there was something, a major achievement, we were meeting with them and showing them and explaining them, and they were saying that not only we had the vision, but we were delivering on it, and that we were clearly building that new version of the internet versus creating some system where you pump and dump tokens and so on, which hurts all the ecosystem. So we reach a point where we consider that effectively DOT is a software, and that I feel it's a great achievement for the community, because that provides a bit more security. If you're an application developer and you want to invest in a given application, you want to build your own company around that application, you want to have some level of certainty that, well, the system using, the operating system I'm using is not going to blow up in the next 2 months because they haven't been there proper work with the regulators. So we are quite happy with that. We are not staying there. That requires still lots of continuous work. So we're continuing that work. We're going to engage. We're engaging also with regulators in other parts of the world, like Europe and so on. So this is definitively not over in terms of work.
Ongoing.
But so far so good, and we feel that the approach of reaching out and being proactive, and show, not only speaking, but doing.
Yeah.
So it's you show what you want to do, and then you show what you've done, and the reality of it is it pays on the long time, and also while working with them, they were also telling us what not to do in terms of PR, marketing. So make sure that we don't, when we do marketing, we are, for example, just a tip is when you do marketing, talk about the tech, talk about the technology, talk about the what you're building.
Yeah.
The price is not something you have to talk about, because then you're a different animal than software.
Okay, so look, we've spoken a lot about DOT. Obviously, there's another ecosystem, the Kusama network, the Canary network, right? I think Gavin called it like creative or rock and roll chain, as it began when it began. What is your opinion on that now going forwards? Because I feel like there was a lot of ghost parachains, or I'm not sure if you call it parachains or KSM, but yeah, but basically like for example, Moonriver, and then there's Moonbeam, and I feel like there's a lot of focus on Moonbeam and not so much on Moonriver anymore. What is your opinion on the Kusama network at the moment? Like, is that still being worked on and looked at? Is that still a focus, like for your teams of both Parity, Web3 Foundation? I mean, how do you pay attention to both at the same time?
So maybe we can look back a little bit in time. Initially, the idea was to have a network for testing. But a network that was a bit more than a testnet. We have testnets, right? But the testnet, you cannot test 100% of your functionalities, because you don't have a real token for testing.
Yeah.
And that means that maybe you can do 80% of the overall testing of your platform, but it's not 100%. So the idea was to have more than a testnet where applications could come, run, break things, realize that they broke things, and then fix it before they go live to Polkadot. That was the initial idea. For Polkadot, it's also any new version, any new release is pushed to Kusama first. We run it, the network runs on Kusama. That release runs on Kusama for some time to make sure it doesn't break anything.
Yeah.
And then the proposal to upgrade Polkadot with that release is done, and then through governance vote, there's a voting process, and it is approved or not to be released on Polkadot. That was the initial goal.
Yeah.
But suddenly, Kusama started to have its own life. So teams were coming to Kusama, building their applications, and some of them were happy with Kusama. Because it's basically break things. They could go faster. They could have faster releases of the Polkadot code on Kusama, where on Polkadot it's longer to have new releases, because we want, basically Kusama is the startup, Polkadot is the enterprise. We don't want Polkadot to break. If Kusama breaks, it's kind of okay. That's the goal, right? We prefer things to break on Kusama. But suddenly some of the projects and Kusama started to have its own life, where projects just built for Kusama, not interested in moving to Polkadot. And some also flipped their mind. So they were planning to run on Kusama and then move to Polkadot and use these two networks for testing and so on. And then they realized that, well, I don't want to do the stuff on Kusama anymore, or they changed their mind. So that's basically, and that proves also that there's the system is working, and the teams are basically free to adapt to the model that they prefer. So hence the fact that you can see some of the projects. I don't like to call them ghost chains, but some projects that are not as active because they are moved to the other side and they don't maintain the code anymore in the first place.
So thanks for breaking that all down. I think that was very interesting. So what do you think, with your 360 view on the whole ecosystem, what do you think the future looks like for Kusama? Is it the same vision as it was at the beginning, or has that changed now?
No, it's the same vision. For us, it's the same vision. We want to have that test network, and as much as we move, there's going to be lots of releases for Polkadot, and as Polkadot has grown, Polkadot will be running is already running a lot of parachains. So the more we move on, the less we want to break things on Polkadot. So that means that we have even more need for Kusama for testing the releases and making sure that the quality of the system is only going up, and we never have a hiccup on Polkadot, which so far, I cross fingers, so good. I mean, the quality of service and the availability is just great. So I think the team are doing a pretty good job at that.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on from Kusama. So there's a huge narrative onboarding Web2 into Web3. There's lots of brands here, especially in Paris Blockchain Week. And I know that Diesel's working with public pressure, which is great to see. So obviously using Polkadot. How is the Polkadot / Web3 Foundation making their ecosystem a good entry point to brands, or is that even a target?
So it's not the foundation itself, because we don't do business development activities.
It's more parity then,
But parity, and we are also other of the actors. An example, Astar is one of the teams. They are big in Japan and in Asia, and they recently onboarded very exciting projects with Sony, with Toyota. So we're seeing now these teams that are basically, and that was the vision, starting to do stuff by themselves and reaching out to whether it's Web2 or let's say more corporate or enterprise, and tell them, look, we are going to help you come to Web3. We have a specific solution, right? Like for example, Astar, and we are going to help you. Kilt, for example, so the distributed identity parachain, they are doing a lot of work to bring through the distributed identity feature. They are bringing a lot of interest from lots of companies into the space, right? And because their solution is strong, they're successful into that, and they're bringing lots of people. So and there's more, and there's parity also, but there's more. So that's what really is exciting, is that we are starting to reach a point where the operating system is there. On top of that, teams have built their specific verticals, I would say, right? So they're specialized in distributed identity. They're specialized, like Akala, in financial services, Astar in other areas. And each of them, within their vertical, they're basically going and looking for traditional companies within that vertical and see how they can help them and bring them into the space, which is very exciting, and that demultiplies the network effect.
So 12, 18 months ago, the launch of parachains, the security aspect has always been a big bonus, and maybe especially with brands, very, very important. And obviously now your token is definitely not security, so you're regulated. So I think it is a safe space environment for brands, for sure. Is security still the thing that you kind of hang your hat on when you're Polkadot, like in terms of pushing it out to the outer ecosystem to get projects in? Is that still one of the main reasons that you would push?
It's clearly one of the main. It's not the only one, but it's clearly the first one, right? I mean, again, back to the analogy of the operating system. If you're Procter & Gamble and you want to develop your next ERP, you want to develop that on an operating system that is the most secure, right? And then scalable and performant and so on, right? So security is clearly one of the dimensions where there's no absolute compromise in anything that we do. And again, back to what I was telling you before, we have very strong researchers in that area.
Yeah.
So that's also something that is important to highlight compared to other chains or other projects. The Polkadot code is not the result of a bunch of geeks hacking some code and then, oh, it seems to work, let's push it, and then you realize that everything falls apart. No. First there's research and there's science, and then that backs any line of code that you produce. So that gives a level of certainty when you're talking about security, that your cryptographic primitives are really secure and they are robust, and same for performance and same for quantum computing resistance and others. So yes, security is important. It's not the only one, but I would say it's one of the dimensions where we feel we are strong and we are not doing any compromise there.
Okay, Bertrand, I really appreciate all these great answers you're giving me. There's so much information here. I've just got a couple more questions if that's okay with you. The first one is, crypto lives on Twitter, right? I mean, a lot of the industry lives on Twitter, let's say. So I always see a lot of the developer charts, and Polkadot's usually at the top of those recently. And obviously Web3 Foundation is focused, one of the things, education, you said, both from beginner right up to master hackers or master developers, shall I say. So that must be obviously great for you guys to see that your actual work is actually making a difference.
Yep.
And how have you managed to foster that? Were you expecting to see Polkadot at the top of those charts when you see those? I mean, I'm sure you've seen them on Twitter.
Yeah, we've seen that, and obviously we are happy with that. But also, it's just the beginning, right? So there's so much work to be done, and if you compare, let's forget about Polkadot. You just take the whole community of developers in crypto Web3, and you compare that to the community of developers, right? Whether it's Java, C++, .NET,
drop in the ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the upside, the potential is just enormous, and that's basically the work that we have to do. It's to bring all those developers to our space and make sure that they are having the tools and the space to deploy their creativity and develop applications. So that's one. Now, in terms of what we do, yes, we've been investing a lot in terms of education. I would highlight one of the major, I would say, initiative that we've been doing for the last, I think we've done it 3 times already, which is called the Polkadot Academy. Oh, yeah. So that's basically a full program during 5 weeks where we have a selection process of developers, and then we take them, so they are Rust developers, we take them from there, and for 5 continuous weeks. The last edition was in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. The one before was in Cambridge, on the university campus. So the last one, it was something like 70 engineers through that full process, and Gavin is participating. So they see Gavin, and Gavin is teaching them. Yeah. Gavin is teaching them and giving them the vision, and we drive them through anything they need to know. So by the end, they are efficient, and they are able to join teams in the space. Yeah. So at the end, there's job also. There's a job fair where basically teams from the space, Akala, Moonbeam, etc., they are coming and they recruit them, right? And that's a huge, and as I said, it's only 70 engineers only. Compared to the percentage of developers in our space, it's significant. Compared to the rest, it's nothing. But this, for example, just to give you one example, is an initiative that we are very proud of. We are going to not only continue but scale it more, because we want to multiply the effects, and we want to find ways to do more and embrace more developers and bring more developers into our space. And all those initiatives together are what are driving the results and the increase in the number of developers in our space.
So check out the Turkish market. There's a lot of developers now in Turkey. Fortunately, with the war in Ukraine, a lot of Russian and Ukrainian developers have artificially inflated the amount of developers in the country, but also, and you're probably wondering why am I saying this? We organise the Istanbul Blockchain Week as well. And also, there's so many university clubs in Turkey, and they're so passionate about crypto. They have 100 or 200 people, and there's like literally hundreds of clubs at the universities. Turkey's a massive country, and we've been seeing a lot of layer ones this year actually come into Turkey and do hackathons. I think it's something that Polkadot should be doing. It's actually something that
definitively
talking to Parity about. Yeah. So look, anyway, look, one more question, since I know you're a busy man and you've got lots of people to talk to. What would be obviously for the Polkadot, not just Polkadot, sorry, the whole ecosystem of projects, like what would be the kind of key message that you'd like to share with token holders, with stakeholders from the Web3 Foundation itself?
No, I think especially under the current circumstances, we see that the markets are having some struggle currently. What we feel and what I want to tell the community is that crypto is going nowhere. The technology, blockchain is going nowhere. The technology is there and it will last for a long time. And this is really a revolution compared to the previous version of the internet. So focus on building, focus on doing, on bringing real value to your users, bringing utility, and forget about all the noise around the market prices and all those kind of things. The teams who really focus, put their heads down in developing because they have a real vision and they feel that they can bring real value on the market for the users, are the ones who would pass those hard times, and there's a lot of success for them on the other side of the tunnel. So stay positive and keep building.
Bertrand, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate and love this interview today. So guys, that's EAK TV with our partners from CryptoSlate reporting from Paris Blockchain Week. Thank you.